do it.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Metastellar YouTube channel. My name is Maria KOROLOV, and I am the editor at Metastellar. And with me today is AMIRA LOUTFI, our reviews editor, who is either over here or over here. She's there. She is over there. Every Friday, AMIRA and I read the top 10 sci-fi and fantasy books on Amazon. Well, not all 10 all the way through. Usually we get a couple of chapters in before we give up. And so this week we've got a few books by the same author and the usual collection of paranormal, dragons, space battles, and post-EMP apocalyptic survival. You know, the usual mix. And again, all these books are free, and we're going to have the links in the description box below so you can pick them all up. They don't stay free for long. Often writers make them free as a promotion, so you get to get a taste of their writing and maybe get hooked on a series. So if you want those books, pick them up today. And the first book is The Lost Star, and I have a book cover of it right there. And it's a space opera, and it's one of the 4 books in a series, and the other books are $2.99 each, and you will have to pay money for them even if you have Kindle Unlimited, because the book is not in Kindle Unlimited. And AMIRA read this book, and AMIRA, what'd you think of it?
I mean, it seems really cool, but then I got to a point where it totally threw me off, and I was just like, I'm done with this book. So I love the cover. I feel like if I ever write a sci-fi book, I'm gonna find whoever designed this and hire them.
I know. I love this cover so much. Yeah. I was so jealous that you got to read this book. I was like, oh my God, this cover makes this book look so epic and so awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, it seemed that way, right? Like when I was reading it. Okay,
yeah,
so
the premise is really cool. So tell people about the premise.
Yeah, so the premise basically is that there's this young priestess who belongs to a temple on a planet called, what is it called? Avixa or something? Where is it? Yeah, Avixa, I was right. And this planet is full of like really powerful people who have been just terrorizing all the other planets, people on the other planets in the Milky Way, right? And so the job of this temple and their priestesses is to keep everybody else under control so that they don't all go berserk. And priestesses themselves have to wear these bracelets that limit their power and prevent them also from just going crazy. So that's kind of a cool idea. It's actually a pretty cool idea, right? But then I learned, okay, and so the first scene, she's in this temple going through a ceremony, and she's committing herself, through like sacred vows or something to the temple and to the planet and stuff. But in her head, she's planning on how she's going to escape. And she wants to escape her responsibilities. But then it just so happens that this planet is actually being governed by a very successful democracy. And the government is actually doing a really good job of keeping the peace. So there's no reason for these priestesses in this temple to be super committed to keeping the peace, because the government's already doing that. So that really turned me off, and I just felt like this book isn't really being what it's saying that it's going to be, or I don't know, I guess just at that moment I just felt like this isn't what it seemed like it was going to be. Yeah, it seems more like she's running away from a cult. A crazy controlling cult. So I'm just like, I've had, okay, I'm done with this one. I just like, that didn't really like, it was kind of confusing, and I'm just like, okay, no, I'm done. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it might be a great book. Who knows? Maybe, I could really be missing out on like a fantastic adventure. Yeah.
All right. So next we've got what do we have next? One of the books by Shannon Mayer. And let's see if I can pull that up so you guys can see it. There you go. Is that it? Yeah, A Savage Spell by Shannon Mayer. So I'm not going to talk about this book. It's the fourth in a series, and the first three books are available for free. The first one being Fury of the Phoenix. Here it is. So this is the first book in the series. It's also free. So there's 5 books total in the series. It is complete. The last book just came out this week. And all the books are in Kindle Unlimited. If you don't have Kindle Unlimited, the last 5th book is $3.99, but I do have Kindle Unlimited. It's like Netflix for books. It's $10 a month. You can read all you want. So, so right there, I love that series. I love not having to pay for books because I'm cheap. This series is awesome. I have no idea why I haven't heard of Shannon Mayer before. I started reading this book. I had a really hard time pulling myself away from it. I'm definitely going to finish it, probably tonight, because I have no life. And I'm going to be reading the other books in the series. This is just absolutely awesome. She's made the USA Today bestseller list for these books. The writing is super strong, powerful. The heroine is Nyx, that's her on the cover. Super kick-ass, competent. I love that about her. She's really hardcore. The book starts out, her family is like nuts. Her dad sold his soul to the devil and is really abusive. And her job in the family was as an enforcer, and she used to kill things. And 10 years ago, she quit the family business, went into hiding, changed her name, got married to a nice, normal guy, had a kid, settled on a ranch in Montana where she's raising horses, and somebody comes and kills her husband and kid. And they do magic to do it. And at first she thinks that it's somebody out of her past, but it turns out they were after her normal husband, supposedly normal husband. And I love this premise. I love this story. How often do we get thrillers where the main male character gets involved in something because his wife or his family is killed off? So, I mean, I'm not happy for her that her family was killed off, but I'm happy to see that this kind of premise applies just as well to women. So, and it definitely is a very, very strong beginning. It's not a particularly light and funny book. So, because like right off, her husband and kid are killed. So it's more serious, but very compelling, very well written. After I started reading this, I looked up more about the author. She lives in Canada. She actually does have a horse and, lives on a farm, and she used to shoe horses for a living. So, and she's got a husband and kid, and, but they're alive. And she decided to start writing because she wanted to have a family and didn't think that crawling under horses was a good idea if you're pregnant. So she started writing books and took a bunch of classes and learned how to do it, and has been turning out absolutely awesome books. And this is just one of the series that she's got. There's 2 other series of books that are several, like one is 9 books, the other is 10 books. And the first 3 books of each of those series are also available for free today. So if you like this author, go on into Amazon right now and grab these books while they're still free. They're absolutely awesome. She's a fantastic author. She reminds me of Kim Harrison, or the Anita Blake books, but without the sex. So that kind of like hardcore, fun, really strong characters, very strong writing. It really,
Is it
really.
kind of like, is it kind of like a revenge story where she's just trying to track down who killed
Yeah.
her husband?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely so in the first few chapters, it's definitely a revenge story. She wants to find out who nearly killed her and killed her husband and kid, and the local police are covering something up, and her enemies, she doesn't know who they are, but they're powerful enough to have like local police on the take, and powerful enough to use magic, and all this other stuff. And she's and they killed her dog.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that's really cold.
Yeah.
The dog, even the dog.
Yeah. So yeah, so I love this premise. So she comes back home from the hospital, and she has a secret room in underneath her stables, kind of like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith kind of situation, where she goes in there and she's got like racks and racks of various kinds of weapons and stashes of hundreds of dollar bills and all this stuff that she kept secret from her husband, including 2 magic talking guns.
Oh wow.
Snide. Yes.
Who are snide?
Yes, snide magical talking guns. Yes. I really love the story. And where did you go?
Where did I go? I mean, what happened here?
All right. Well,
Okay,
so while you find yourself, I'm going to say that I've posted a link in the description below to an audio podcast interview with the author, where she talks about her writing process and how she went from being a pantser to a plotter. And a pantser is somebody who writes by the seat of her pants, and a plotter is somebody who outlines ahead of time, and the importance of hiring an editor and cover designers and stuff like that. So definitely worth a listen if you're interested in becoming an urban fantasy writer and want to know how successful writers do it, which, you know, I do. So that was very interesting for me. It was the Bestseller Experiment podcast. So I've got that linked below. And the next book that we have up is called Fallout, and it's an EMP survival book by James Hunt, the last book in a 5-book series. So what'd you think, AMIRA?
Okay, I read the first few pages. I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it. Yeah, no, I did. I kind of so what I liked about it, I mean, I guess I don't think that it was structured really that well, but I think that the writer, like his prose is kind of pleasant, and I liked how he was basically just telling you what the backstory was in kind of concisely. I guess I feel like it was kind of concise and straightforward, and so I appreciated that, I guess, maybe because like I feel like a lot of these like free books, like it's not that clear what the plot is or what's important in the beginning. Yeah. But I felt like for this book, he was making it very clear. He was just cutting to the chase. So I like that a lot.
Yeah. I actually read the first book, the beginning of the first book a few months ago, when one of his other books was on the top 10 list. And the first book was EMP Shelter in Place. And I really did not like it. I mean, I hate EMP books generally. I'm super prejudiced against them because I've had to read way too many of them. And very few of them I liked. And this is one of those books where the main character's phone goes out and he's like, oh, there's been an EMP attack. Just the thing I've been planning for my whole life. Well, nobody believed me, but now look, I'm proven right. I guess I'm gonna have to go kill everybody because the world's about to descend into savagery. You know, that kind of attitude. So maybe he got better over the course of the books, and by the 5th book, he's more of a normal person.
I mean, he didn't seem like that bad of a guy, but I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I skipped over a few lines. So one thing I wanted to ask you about these type of books is, who do you think the audience for them is? Like, are there people who really think an EMP attack is like may come and they really are preparing for it?
I think it's the same audience as the zombie books.
Uh-huh.
You
Okay.
know, the zombie apocalypse, it's just another apocalypse. Civilization is falling apart. How do we deal with it?
Mhm.
And I think that there's a lot of people who deal with stuff. I mean, there's people who like scary movies, you know, and I do not like scary movies. I don't want to be scared and pay money to be scared. Like, I don't want to be sad and pay money for somebody to make me sad. Why would I? That seems crazy. But other people like it very much. And I know people love zombie stories and the post-apocalyptic zombie survival. So I think this falls into that category. You know, you're seeing civilization collapse and people deal with it. Maybe it makes people feel better about the actual civilization collapsing. Now, me, I look at the news and I see our actual civilization collapsing. Like, the last thing I want to do is read more about the same kind of thing. I want to read something about cute puppies and kittens, or like homicidal revenge seeking mass murderer, hot like women, you know, or like killing everybody, you know, so something light and fun like that. So I personally am not the target audience for either zombie apocalypses or EMP apocalypses or any apocalypses. I mean, I don't like the Handmaid's Tale either. I don't like 1984. I don't like any of those. It's just depressing, you know. But yeah, a lot of people like them. So if you're one of those people, this book is free. All right, let's move on to the next book on our list. And that's another one of the books by Shannon Mayer. So I can't say anything about it because I haven't read it yet, because I'm going to read all those books. So I have not started reading that one. And so, you know, saving myself from some spoilers. The next book on the list is also by Shannon Mayer. Like I said, she made the first 5 books free. And this is the first book, the one that's also free, the one that I am reading right now. Awesome book. This is another series that she has, the Desert Cursed series. It's not an urban fantasy. So the other books that I was talking about are set in the present day. It's a present day, but with magic. So this series is set in an epic fantasy world, and I really liked it. So the main character here is AMIRA Reckless Wilson, and her middle name actually is Reckless. Her dad picked it out. He was an ex-Marine. And the book starts out with her on a horse being chased by dragons, which is okay, standard epic fantasy fare. But then she takes out a grenade launcher, you know, to shoot at the dragons, which is nice. I mean, to shoot at the giants, which is nice. If, you know, a giant is chasing you, maybe you want to carry a grenade launcher. So that's nice. And so the main idea of this world is that there's an evil witch that has put the whole world into a permanent winter. And she and her best friend Steve are stealing something from the giants, and the giants catch them, and she almost dies. And she's snarky. This is a lot of fun. It's full of action. I love her attitude. I love the fact that she's carrying a grenade launcher. And I'm definitely gonna read these books. And like I said, the other books are all in Kindle Unlimited. If you don't have Kindle Unlimited, they're $3.99 each, but the first 3 books are free today. The 9th book in this series is due out in April. And these books made the USA Today bestseller list. And I can see why. They're a lot of fun to read, extremely well written. I love this series, and I give it 2 thumbs up.
Wow.
And now moving on to something completely different. The Dragon's Midlife Mate by Weir is the first of 4 books in a paranormal romance series called The Crest Dragon Shifters. The other books are 99 cents each. They are in Kindle Unlimited. The 4th book is not out yet, but it's going to come out later this month. So AMIRA, you read this one. What'd you think of it?
So I mean, I enjoyed reading it. It's definitely very sweet. It's not funny. It is kind of sad, but the sweetness is like, pretty good. So basically, yeah, so I mean, like, I wouldn't like so I didn't think it was like interesting enough to keep me coming back, right? But it was definitely really sweet. And if you like books that make you, feel warm and fuzzy on the inside, then, then go for it. I think it's well written. And yeah, I mean, do you want to know the premise basically?
Sure.
So this woman, she's 42 years old, and she's running away from her husband. They just got a divorce, and she just starts walking out, right? Like as soon as she signed the papers, she just took off, right? So, and she is part dragon, or no, she's a dragon shifter, right? And what she can do is shift like one part of her body into like being like a dragon at a time. And that's really cool. She can shift like just one finger into like a dragon claw. Well, she's not able to do this, but other dragons are able to shift their lungs into dragon lungs. So even though they look human, they can like breathe fire.
Oh,
yeah. And she can also like, sprout wings as a human and go flying, right?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So like I like how the magic and the power, right, that she has follows a set of like logical rules, right? Like, so because she's a dragon, there are like, a handful of special, abilities that it would make sense for her to have, right? And yeah, so I like that part, right? I guess you could call it like a rational magic system. The thing that was kind of, yeah, so that's pretty cool. And then the other main part of the story, really the main part of the story, is the relationship, right? So she runs away. She transforms her feet into dragon feet so that they don't hurt when she's like as she's running away. And then she stops in a small town, and the bar and it's like a rundown pub, right? And then the door opens, and it's another dragon guy, right? He's also a dragon shifter. And it turns out that this town that she ran away to coincidentally just happens to be very dragon shifter friendly. Half of the population is made up of dragon shifters. And I was really curious about like, okay, I want to know more about this town, right? I feel like that would be really interesting, like there could be like some cool world building going on, because there's so much, because also running around this world, there are a bunch of like dragon hunters who like want to find dragon shifters and kill them, right? So, yeah, so it's like they're oppressed, but they're very, they have like special powers and stuff. And the guy at the pub that she met is like a big sweetie. And yeah, and really he's the one who makes the story really sweet. Him
Okay.
and that girl, their personalities and how they interact.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, sounds pretty promising. All right, let's see. What's the next one on the list? Another one of your books.
Yeah.
The Witch of the Wild Beasts by Katherine Stein. It's a standalone historical romantic fantasy. The author has a similar book out as well, Witch of the Cards, but they're not like different characters and stuff in different time periods. What'd you think?
So I found this book to be like kind of sad, like definitely interesting, well written, well thought out, but like just so sad, right? Evelina, in the very beginning, one of the customers comes in and just kills her brother. And they work at a tailor shop. They're very poor, they're orphans, they lost their parents, they lost their family home. And then one of the customers kills her brother, and she then stabs him with a pair of scissors. And during this fight, right, where, the guy kills her brother, she also has like a swarm of wasps that are flying around and trying to help her. They're also fighting and trying to like sting the guy who's like hurting her brother, right? So these wasps are like helping her. And I didn't say this in my review, I probably should have said this, but she doesn't realize that she has like the power, like any magical power, to like control or influence animals or to communicate with animals, right? But when this horrible thing happens, these wasps are helping her out, and she escapes, right? She runs away, and then she's just homeless for a while, and she has a couple of adventures as a homeless girl in the city, and the time period is like I think the 1800s, and it takes place in like Pennsylvania somewhere, maybe Philadelphia, and then she gets into like a similar problem with her employer, right? She finds work finally after being homeless and like begging and stuff, and she finds a job that involves birds. She's supposed to keep birds away from her employer's crops, right? And then the birds, or her employer, is like, angry at her because she's friends with the birds and she's taking care of them. So he gets really angry at her and he just starts hitting her, right? He destroys the like the little birdhouse. She has like birdhouses. He destroys the birdhouses, and then he starts hitting her, and the birds start attacking him. They start attacking him, and one of them jumps into his mouth.
Ew.
And yeah, and like just chokes him like that, right? So he died, and this happened in front of everybody who works on the farm, right? And they're all like, oh my gosh, she's a witch, you're a witch, these are that very same day, like she's hauled away to prison, right, for being a witch, and also for like killing people, right? And then when she's in prison, she finds out that the doctor from the very beginning of the story, the guy who killed her brother, is still alive, and he is conducting experiments on inmates.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So this story kind of seems like there's just a lot of sad stuff happening.
And it just
This
keeps
wound
getting
after
worse and
wound.
worse for her.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm like, this is sad, and it's well written and it's convincing, and she's kind of like, her personality is kind of like a Disney princess kind of girl. Yeah. I mean, if that sounds interesting, I would recommend
Actually,
it.
does sound interesting.
Uh, it does.
All right, let's go on to the next last book on our list. Let me switch over so you guys can see it. Here it is. It's the first 3 books in the Rylee Adamson series. And this is a yet another series by Shannon Mayer. The first 3 books of the series are in this box set. The other books are $3.99 each, and they're in Kindle Unlimited. And the first book is called Priceless, and it begins with Rylee Adamson works as kind of a private investigator, and she finds lost children. She has kind of a magical power to tell if abducted children are still alive and where they are. And 10 years ago, her little sister was taken from a playground and is still missing. So she's kind of haunted by that. And also the FBI thinks that she was responsible for her sister's disappearance, and the FBI is kind of following her around. And now that she's finding other lost children, the FBI thinks that she's just like super suspicious. So it's set in the modern day. It's a urban fantasy. She is pretty kick-ass. It's more serious. It's not as snarky as the book with the giants and the magic jewels and the witches. That was the previous series that I talked about. This is more like the Nyx Phoenix books, the first ones. So it's kind of serious, kick-ass, a strong kick-ass protagonist. In the first scene, the first chapter, the FBI agents are on her case after she meets with a couple of parents, and one of them is like really in her face, and to get him off her back, she kisses him. And the next chapter is from his point of view, so I'm guessing that they're going to get together. So this book does have a stronger romantic subplot than the first set, but she's still pretty kick-ass, so I'm willing to forgive the romance. And the romance isn't cloying, and it's appropriate to the plot. And it's not one of those immediate, meet cute kind of situations. So I liked it. It's a little more realistic, as realistic as you can get, like in an urban fantasy kind of setting. The case that she's on, the little girl was kidnapped from the same park as her sister on the same day of the year as her sister was kidnapped. So she thinks it's too much of a coincidence that these cases must be connected. And she can tell, using her magic powers, that this little girl is still alive, but she's on the other side of the veil, whatever that is. So she's in some other world, and she's going to need help to get her back. And I don't know yet what that help is going to be, but I'm definitely going to stick around and find out. So I loved all my books this week, and I'm going to be reading all of them. I think this author is awesome. I'm definitely going to put her on my watch lists and keep an eye out for everything that she watches, and keep an eye out for everything that she writes. And so if you like this kind of genre, the kick-ass protagonists, strong female heroes, Anita Blake, Kim Harrison, Armstrong, Kelly Armstrong, that kind of book, this is going to be up your alley. And I recommend them very, very highly. All the links are going to be down below. And I also want to mention before we go that we are supported by Patreon. And the link to that's going to be below as well. And we publish original science fiction and fantasy. Our submission cycle for the fall just closed the end of last month, and we're going to be publishing all those stories over the next few weeks. But we're always accepting reprints, essays, book reviews, and other submissions. And our site is completely free. All of our fiction is free, thanks to the kindness and the generosity of our Patreon supporters. So thank you, everybody. And if you like this kind of content, please support our channel by hitting like and the subscribe button below. And before we go, AMIRA, is there anything else you'd like to add for our viewers?
I mean, have you been reading any of the books from last week?
I have. You know that book that you had with the bakery?
Yeah.
I read that book after your review, and I read like the next 3 or 4 books in the series.
Oh, wow.
I loved it.
Cool.
It was totally fluffy. It made no sense. It was just the cutest thing. The magical cat didn't do anything at all. He just sits around reading ebooks on the Kindle. I love those books. They're like potato chips, you know.
So could you like spoil the entire rest of the book for me? Because like I guess I'm not really into the cozy mystery, but I am kind of curious about what happens. I just don't feel like reading it.
No, I'm not going to do that. Not on camera. I get assassinated.
Oh, okay.
And I wouldn't blame my killer either. They'd be totally justified. It's a mystery. But given the fact that it's a cozy mystery, the solution will come. It will be satisfying, and there will be a cute romantic element.
Okay.
It's like Murder, She Wrote, you know, except with a baker. Okay, it's exactly that kind of book. It's a cute small town. Everyone is either supportive and cute or annoying in a minor way. The deaths all happen off camera. Nothing is too gruesome. The mysteries are all cute, and she's always in just the slightest amount of physical danger when she's solving these crimes, just like Murder, She Wrote. So if you like that kind of story, which I do, give me this kind of story anytime. You can keep your zombies and your EMP apocalypses. I want my cute little fluffy murder mysteries with the baker and the talking cats. Yeah, so really, really appreciate it. That was in last week's Free Friday list. I don't know if that book is still free, but I'm going to add a link to last week's story below. I also read my books. There was like one of the books that I loved a lot last week. And I've read several books in that series as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I have no life. So that
You're a really, really fast reader.
I am a very fast reader. Yeah.
This
is why I don't buy books, because I would be literally spending my entire salary, you know, on books if I were to buy them all. So I get the free books, I get the Kindle Unlimited books, I get the library books, all that stuff. So the other series that I really liked last week was the Witch for Hire series with Michelle, who deals with illegally bred magical creatures. So she works as a freelance witch, basically, for the local police departments. I've read several of the books. And so there's 8 books in a series. And get this, these books all cost $5 each. I bought the books. They're not on Kindle Unlimited. I paid hard cash for these books because I like them so much.
Wow, I hear you.
They're really fun.
I really like these books.
I love the fact that she's a freelancer, because I'm a freelancer myself. And she talks about invoicing and negotiating contracts, which I like very much. and having to go on assignment and, take urgent calls and stuff. I love that. And it's just a really, really fun series. And she's got cool magical powers. The magic is fun. The system is coherent and nice. And there's big power struggles between various magical clans and stuff, and the family drama and everything, the usual. I just really, really liked it. I had a lot of fun with this series, and I'm definitely planning to read the rest of the books in the series, even though I have to pay money for them. Yeah. So I'll have the link to those reviews below.
Okay, so my other question, I mean, I guess I kind of already know the answer to this, but like, do you think Shannon, what's her name?
Mayer.
Shannon Mayer is like, do you feel like she's really inspiring?
Yeah.
Like, yeah? Like, where does she
she's
fit
got
in
more than
your-
like 20 books out there. Her writing is awesome. She's self-published. She made the USA Today bestseller list. Yeah. She's my new hero.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel too. I was like, she's really killing it, this woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Mhm.
And she shoes horses,
Doesn't that just mean like you're putting like literally like that
Horseshoe.
bottom round metal thing like onto their hooves?
Yeah, that's super dangerous. Horses do not like it when you touch their feet.
Uh-huh.
Like my son is like a huge guy, and he's got a couple of horses. He has somebody in to do that.
Oh,
It's
wow.
not like clipping your cat's toenails, which I can't do either. My cat won't let me. But no, shoeing horses is like a dangerous, tough job. My son's a big guy. He has somebody in to do that.
Uh-huh. Do you know like how like any of the techniques? Or
No.
secrets of like how no
Anything about shoeing horses. I just watch it from a distance,
Uh-huh.
like, oh, there's my son having his horses shoed. I don't know. I don't even know what the proper term is. I think a farriered. So yeah, so she is definitely awesome. And I recommend her very highly. She's definitely one of my top 10 urban fantasy writers right now, just from the stuff I've read the first today. She's really
wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. I love doing these reviews because I mean, some weeks it's like, there's nothing good out there today. And then some weeks you find your new favorite author.
No, that's very true.
Yeah.
It's very true. I learned about Will White like 2 weeks ago. So that's cool.
Yeah. And Will Wright is awesome. And Shannon Mayer is awesome. Yeah. This is not a list of bad books. This is a list of a wide variety of books. Some of them are fantastic. All of them readable to somebody, because you don't get to the top of a bestseller list by with nobody liking you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right. I will see you next week, Amira. So have fun. I'm going to go back to reading this book. I'm going to go finish that up. And like putting all the links in the description and posting this video. See you, everybody. See you guys next week, and subscribe to our channel not to miss any future videos. Bye-bye.
Bye.